Well, that is what the federal government is saying. There's a lot of problems as we speak. In a country that has so much issues. And I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about that. Bear with us. As you can tell, there's a lot of security personnel that goes from point A to B, which is what we do here in UK. We make sure that we try to save community. You're quite right. What the federal government is going to do, I don't know yet, but it seems that the federal government is saying that the NLC has no right, as we speak right now, to be heading into what we call a total shutdown of what is happening in the country today. But as I speak right now, the NLC have paralyzed the government right from the airport up to the civil service, and most importantly, most other private sector has been affected as well. Well, it has to be the leaders. The government would have to definitely arrest the leader, and I'm sure if that happened, then eventually that will going to lead to more strike. So I think the federal government would have to find what we call a lasting solution between the two, union. We're talking about the NLC and we're talking about the TUC. And as you said earlier in the broadcast, even the ASU have asked their members to join as well. So that means that there will be more strike if the government do not find what we can call a solution to the current problem between three unions that can paralyze the country as quickly as possible. Well, the demand is that the government needs to work out the modality. Remember that since the president removed the subsidy, that has been a big impact, affected many many of the workers. The NLC expect wages to be increased. The federal government says yes, we're going to do that, but it's only going to last for just almost less than 3 to 6 months. And what we've seen, from what we are hearing, again, I'm just going back to the report in front of me right now. The banned, strained, grounded as Lagos workers joined the strike as well. Affiliated of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria in Lagos State on Tuesday comply with the directives of the two labor unions to embark on indefinite nation strike. It's not just a one day, this is an indefinite nation strike. The National Executive Council of the meeting of the labor union held yesterday in Abuja resolved to embark on this strike. The decision, which you just asked me right now, was due to the alleged failure of the federal government to address issues affecting workers such as the minimum wage, the insecurity, the corruption, and most importantly, the poor governance as well. Also, both unions had made some demands in which the government had allegedly failed to address following the recent crisis in Imo State. I talked about that earlier, that resulted in the alleged brutalization of the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajaro, and other members of the union. So the most important reason that this indefinite strike has go ahead is for the fact that the federal government refused to abide by allowing new changes in the workers' salary and also the insecurity that is going on in the country. Once again, I come back again to you in the studio as it is still a very, very heavy rain, as we've been told, across the country today. And as you can tell, umbrellas will be selling at the Lucian Market, which is just about a few meters away from me. The fire brigade is not too far from there. We continue to talk about, fire safety. I'm sure many of us will remember those that died yesterday at the house in Onslow. We're talking about almost 5 family members, including 3 children. May their soul rest in peace. I come back again to you in the studio. We've seen the fire brigade, we've seen the ambulances, we've seen the police. These are there to make sure that the London Borough of Lewisham is well taken care of. I come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie, as we continue to review the rest of the news headline from Nigeria this morning. Well, you're quite right. Doctors and the patient are now bemoaned with the diabetics that is now an epidemic. We're talking about almost 200% spike on treatment. The cost of treating someone with a diabetic is quite high. It's not just only in Nigeria. We're talking about insulin. We're talking about, so many drugs that are not even affordable in Nigeria, because many Nigerians are struggling, to even have 3 square meals. So the last thing they would have is money for insulin and money for tablets for these. But according to the global community that is marking the World Diabetics Day 2023 today, the high morbidity, mortality, and the scoring cost of treatment, the cost of the treatment is what is killing many people. There's an actor that has now had a leg being amputated. We're talking about, Mr. Ibro. Mr. Ibro is one of the biggest actors when it comes to the Nigerian Nollywood. In the last couple of days, he has struggled, due to medical ailment. We don't know exactly what, but my cousin was telling me on Friday that it seems that the reason why his leg has been amputated might have to do, with what we call diabetics. The question then is, we try and get image of him right there, and that is the image of this particular actor right there. Is a very popular Nollywood actor that is well known in Nigeria. I'm sure most Ghanaians, Kenya, South Africa, but I can confirm to you that just under well, I'm getting another news coming out from the daughter. Mr. Ibro's daughter has hijacked his treatment fund. Actor's wife alleged. Well, that's another family problem coming there. It seems that amid the health struggle, Nigerian comic actor John Okafor, widely known as Mr. Ibro, is caught in a family feud as his wife Stella Maris Okafor has now accused the adopted daughter Jasmine of hijacking his treatment fund in a viral Instagram video. Well, we know that Mr. Ibro, as at last week, is facing an health crisis surfaced a month ago with the wife and the daughter having been the forefront tackling the situation. But it seems that he has actually had his leg amputated. We pray and hope that he will recover as quickly as possible. Coming back now to the other story that we are talking about, which is the the diabetics in Nigeria. Many Nigerians are facing this problem because we have not invested in the healthcare sector in the country with a population of 200 million. And that literally means that many Nigerians today are facing a huge burden without a support. Over 11.2 million Nigerians are living with type 2 diabetics. And as you said earlier, 560,000 of increase in the cost of insulin, drugs, and also the test. Once again, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I'll come back again to you in the studio as we continue to give you the headline all the way from Lewisham High Street in a very busy Tuesday morning. As you can tell, many workers. There's an hospital not too far from here, which is just about less than 10 minutes away. And the question is, what can the federal government do to support those that are suffering from diabetics? Well, this morning we woke up with the news of Buhari. Buhari has not been out of the news since he left the government on the May 29, just like we saw David Cameron coming back after 6 years. Politicians are never tired. But as we have been saying, it seems that this president has been trying as much as possible to avoid bringing Buhari into the equation. But since the government is struggling to find any kind of support in terms of money that should have been used to build back the economy, well, then we have no other choice, as the news this morning filter of the former President Muhammadu Buhari surfaced again. So many headlines, and this is actually coming from Ribadu. The National Security Agency says President Buhari regime looted Nigeria into bankruptcy. No money for President Bola Tinubu to run the country. And this is coming from Nuru Nibadu. Another headline says Buhari administration bankrupted Nigeria. According to the National Security Agency, Ribadu, we are facing a very serious budgetary constraint. It is okay for me to tell you, it is fine for you to know, we have a very serious situation. The question then is, would President Buhari be called by the Senate to account for the 8 years he had in power with some of his cabinet? Remember that we had Jonathan in office. Dezeni flew out of Nigeria to London. He's now been held on here by the National Crime Agency for corruption. His case will be coming back to the Crown Court on the November 25th, 2023. The question is, would this government, apart from Emefiele, start holding many people into the problems of the economy that Buhari ran for 8 years, as we are now being told that the economy Buhari operated for 8 years was a disaster? Well, we haven't heard from the spokesperson for, the former president, Garba Shehu. I'm sure is going to respond. Remember, he did make some response, a little bit. Let's go into the details, from what the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuru Ribadu, said yesterday. He has declared that former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration bankrupted Nigeria in the first official pronouncement of the federal government on the state of the finance of the government. After Buhari's 8-year administration, the nation's top security man affirmed that President Bola Tinubu led a government inherited a bankrupted country. Ribadu, who spoke at the Chief of the Defense Intelligence Annual Conference team, leveraging defense diplomacy, regional. Are we now going to this government of President Muhammadu Buhari? Well, let's hear some of the men coming from many of those that are members of the public. According to Baron, the same APC said Jonathan bankrupted Nigeria, and now they're saying Buhari bankrupted Nigeria. APC is a propaganda, is always the same. According to Agbo Sunday, this is what Peter Obi was saying during the election. No excuses. You are there to work, not to give excuses. And one more before I come back again to in the studio. But you are buying 130 million vehicles for the lawmakers, bloated the cabinet, bloated the fleet of presidency. Who are we fooling? And the last one from Stephen says, a country that bankrupted cannot afford SUV to all the National Assembly, but yacht for the president, renovate the villa at 1.5 billion car for the wife. The question goes on and on. The question again is, would the EFCC now call Buhari, as we have seen in UK, in advanced country, president or ex-president are not, especially when they are ex, Buhari doesn't have any more immunity. I think the best thing to do is now for the Senate to call him or the EFCC to bring him for questioning. Well, at 11:32, as we've said, the banks, the trains, everything is grounded. The airport, as the Lagos worker, have now also joined the NLC. Also, the driver surrendered to police after crushing a Loma official today. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. 2 Loma officials, died, but it seems that the driver has now, surrendered himself for questioning. Federal government meet labor leaders as a nationwide strike begins. Remember, this is not just a one-day strike. It's going to be an indefinite strike. The Naira continued to slump, persist despite 46% price in the dollar turnover as well. It seems that the banks, the schools have now been shut in Kano State as the government suspends qualifying exams. Akwa Ibom plans 10 dialysis centers in the federal constituency is coming from some of the headline as well. Most community in Ogun State are lamenting flooding and now seeking the government intervention. We've seen flooding across the world, as you can see right here this morning. Let's allow the police that is driving very fast with the siren bluffering up to go away. Let's take you through some of the other headlines, and then I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, and then we go straight on the social media. Once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's still very heavy. ASU direct members to join the nationwide strike. According to the Academic Staff Union of the university, has directed its members to join call by the Nigeria Labour Congress and the trade union as well. We've talked about the diabetics. Also, Knox prays for INEC as Diri coast to victory in Bayelsa. Remember that the election that took place in Kogi, Imo State, and Bayelsa concluded, and it seems that some are happy while some are not. NLC TUC ignore court order, began a nationwide strike over the assault on their president. The United Bank UBA secure 150 million from the Afrexim Bank to ease the Ukraine war effect on the customer as well. Yesterday, a news feature from Saudi Arabia, where the ARCHIE air, that took down passenger to Saudi Arabia, about 264, every single one of them visa was now cancelled. Then the intervention from the Nigerian embassy, the Nigerian consulate right there, eventually led to only 177 returned back to Nigeria. The federal government is now investigating what went wrong in Saudi Arabia, where the visa that was given to those that are meant to be traveling for the Umrah eventually was cancelled. So the federal government is asking questions this morning, but like I said, that was a very sad situation, as many people would have to return back to Nigeria. We had about 177 of them return back. So what I'm asking this morning is what went wrong and what can be done, for such, situation not to occur again. Countries have the right, to disallow you from getting into their country at the port of entry. But remember that the President Bola Tinubu was still at Saudi Arabia for a summit. He had his own Umrah, and I'm asking the question, what went wrong as well? But again, Saudi Arabia canceled the visa of scores of Nigerian passengers after they arrived. It is really unclear why the passenger, most of whom were visiting Saudi Arabia for the lesser Hajj, airpiece, not ARIC. I take that back. It was an airpiece that took them, and it was the same airpiece that has now returned the 177, and the only 164 were allowed to continue entry into the Arab country as well. At 11:37, a very heavy rain from the Lewisham High Street in London, where we are reporting from. I'm just going to go straight to what is happening on the social media. It seems that Buhari is trending, as you can tell. Likewise, Abuja is trending, and the reason why Abuja is trending is because there's a lot happening. NLC TUC at the Wema Bank in Oyo State have also enforced, and I can show you some of the images coming from there as well. That is some of the images that we have been received from Oyo State. So it seems that the workers are responding to the NLC and the TUC Also, Naira scarcity is biting harder across the country as the banks have limited cash. We talked about this last week, but again, the central bank governor Cardoso says that such is not happening. But I can tell you that it seems such is happening as well. Let me see what more is trending again this morning. Apart from Abuja, we also have Emilio Khan. Remember that Emilio Khan is the phrase that was used by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu telling Nigerians that it's time to rule Nigeria. But it seems that things are not going very well. Yoruba is trending this morning as well. Remember that we talked about Dr. Oloye, Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho sent a message from Germany yesterday in the midst of many speculation that it was deported back to Nigeria. But everybody knows that Igboho was not deported. And that is a chief, right there from Germany, sending greetings in our language to many people. Let's see if we can get that again. So that is, Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho. And like I said this morning as well, Yoruba is trending. Let's see why it's trending before I come back again to you in the studio at 11:39. And it seems that there was a London show that showcased who we are as Yoruba people, and that is why that is trending. It was a London mayor that took place, and let's see if we can bring that up a little bit. All these took place over the weekend. As you can tell there, that is, the London mayor show is making Yoruba to trend. That is the Oyo, one of the most important, festival called Eyo Festival. And you can tell there, that is the truck that carried that many people. And this all happened in London, I believe, over the weekend as well. This is the Star Radio UK. I am reporting, and like I said, many Nigerians are still asking the question, would former President Muhammadu Buhari now be called for questioning? Again, time will tell whether it will be called or not. As I come back again to you in the studio, before we wind down from this very beautiful side of London this morning, my name again is OLAYOMI KOIKI, reporting for the Star Radio UK, and I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. Bye for now, Mr. Archie. Wow, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everyone. Most especially the backup channel. We have said it so many times. Many people do not follow the backup channel. That is why they don't know when we go live. It is important that you follow us on the backup channel so that Kelly and Monton Law, most importantly, there's a lot of things that we share. There's a lot of news that we bring, but we expect many people to follow us as well. But many people do not follow us. And that is why when we go live, they are not aware that we are live. But Adupelawa Inti Emante Liwalori, the backup channel all the time. It's raining. I'm going to end the broadcast because I am still on the move, as you can tell. And the last thing I want is to allow the phone to get damaged because I want to be on a live broadcast. OLAYOMI KOIKI ni Monje, Adugbo Tawa ló ń pè ní Woolwich, Ennis restaurant, one of the Nigerian restaurant, a very, I'm sure many of you have seen different people going there to eat and all such as well. Anyway, as I'm moving away from there now, mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé Yoruba nation, òun làwa gbé dání, no retreat, no surrender. I'm going to have to even change to my, because weather ain't pọ̀ díẹ̀ nísìn, so I'm allowed to change the fìlà tí mo wọ̀ gan sef, so that ká wọ fìlà míì, torí òtútù yẹn ó ti fẹ́ máa gbá mi ní orí, so and that means that I have to put on my military fìlà kí òtútù yẹn kó lè reduce díẹ̀. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o. And Yoruba nation has come to stay. So that's the most important thing. We will continue to campaign, and we will continue to ask questions as well. So I'm going to change the Filamito to 2 now. So, and I have to put on my glasses off. So thank you so much. I'll again. Bye for now.